Hello friends, welcome to our new video. In today's video, we will see a scientist who wants to create a medicine that can make humans disappear. What consequences he faces after making this medicine, we will see in this video. So let's start the movie. This scientist was very mischievous since childhood. Here we see a child, and this is our scientist named Calvin, who is researching planets. His mom arrives and sees her talented son engrossed in searching for planets. Later, she looks through the telescope, sees large planets, and her eyes widen in astonishment. The woman becomes very angry with Calvin. In her anger, she even slaps him. His mom explains to Calvin. She tells you to focus on studies, then departs. Later, the movie depicts events 20 years afterward. Calvin has become a prominent scientist. Many scientists have come here. Calvin explains his medicine to everyone here. He declared, "This medicine can make anyone disappear," astonishing scientists who found his claims unbelievable. To convince everyone, Calvin takes the medicine himself. But the medicine has no effect on him. All the scientists present mock Calvin. Because of his failure, everyone laughed loudly at Calvin, making him very angry with himself and causing him to act like a madman. He beats the scientist who was laughing at him. Calvin becomes so angry due to his humiliation that he kills 4 scientists here because Calvin's mind was disturbed. Therefore, instead of punishing him, the principal sends him to a mental asylum. 6 months later, we see Calvin escaping, where we also learn that Calvin has now completely recovered, and on the other hand, we see some school children who were quite mischievous, and then their principal arrives here. She gathers all the children here and tells them that your physics teacher, Frankie, has died, and starting today, Mr. Smith will teach you physics, and Mr. Smith is none other than. In fact, it was Calvin who came to the school under a changed name. These naughty children make fun of Calvin here, but Calvin ignores their remarks and starts the physics class. Then, Calvin's eyes fall on a girl who was very beautiful. He asks her some questions, but no one in this class knew anything. And these people dismiss Calvin's words with laughter. Calvin gets very angry with all this, but he couldn't do anything. The girls were practicing dance in the basketball court when Calvin arrives here, and seeing Calvin dance with the girls, he becomes infatuated with them. After finishing dance practice, the girls go to take a bath, but Calvin was standing there watching them. Then, one of these girls' classmates named Jordan comes here. He secretly watches these girls bathing, and doing so, Calvin sees him. When Jordan leaves from here, Calvin Bull looks at those girls through this window. Just then, the school principal arrives and asks Calvin what he is doing here. Calvin suddenly becomes very nervous upon seeing her here. But he says that he had dropped his money and was just picking it up. Here, the principal tells Calvin that she needs a tutor for a girl and gives Calvin the girl's address. After that, we see Calvin at his home, lying on the bed thinking deeply about his experiment, which still left him very sad. His fellow scientist had made fun of him a lot, and now his student is doing the same. So Calvin decides that he will complete his experiment. He gets back to his old work. After a few days, he prepares another formula, initially trying it on his cockroach. But this formula doesn't work either, yet Calvin was not one to give up. He puts his all into creating this formula. After working hard, he completes the formula, causing his pet cockroach to vanish instantly. Seeing this, Calvin becomes very happy. But now he wanted to try this formula on a human. Then he injects himself, and before long, he also disappears after exactly 10 minutes. Then the cockroach reappears, making Calvin realize that the drug only works for 10 minutes. Calvin was very tired. Therefore, he suggests, but in Calvin's dreams, many girls appear who are inviting him. Suddenly, Calvin's dream is shattered. But now he wants to turn this dream into reality, when Calvin remembers the address given by the principal. He obtains the address of a girl from his class, injects the formula, arrives at her house, then removes her clothes and touches and gazes at her. After a short time, he returns. The next day, Calvin conducts a surprise test for all students and sits in his chair reading a book. As soon as the test ends, all students drop their books simultaneously. This makes Calvin suddenly very scared. Seeing Calvin scared, all the students start laughing at him, and seeing them laugh reminds Calvin of the scientists who laughed at his experiment. This makes Calvin feel deeply humiliated, and he becomes very angry at these students. After that, Calvin snatches their papers and fails them all. Meanwhile, the principal calls a student to her office to inform him that his weak English will prevent acceptance into a good college in the future. Upon hearing the principal's words, the boy grew anxious. She then offered him a chance to make her happy. She will pass him then. What more did the boy want? He lustfully flirts with the principal and gets close to her. Meanwhile, we see Calvin at home having a strange dream about his childhood, where his mother tells him this. Calvin's mind is very sharp. Whatever Calvin wants to achieve, he can achieve it. But his heart is very weak, so he cannot endure his humiliation. The next day, we see two students talking about Calvin while in the toilet. They were planning to take revenge on Calvin because Calvin had exposed them. Calvin hears their conversation, then shortly goes to his class to begin teaching. Then the principal summons Calvin to her office and asks, "Is there a woman in your life?" Calvin responds, "I'm unmarried." Upon hearing Mary has no girlfriend, the principal becomes very happy and goes to Calvin, approaching and scolding him. But Calvin was a tough guy, which made the principal quite angry. The principal threatens him, saying if Calvin doesn't cool down this fire. She threatens to expel him and accuse him of drugs after finding Calvin's medicine injection. Upon hearing about the police, Calvin becomes very scared. After that, he comes in front of the principal and starts to get intimate with her, but since the principal had threatened him, Calvin was very angry. While flirting with the principal, he scolds her there, then leaves her office to return to his classroom. Here, all the students come together and make fun of Calvin, but how did they know who Calvin was? Their teasing greatly fueled Calvin's anger. After that, he goes to the school gate and blocks all the exit paths. Then he takes out an injection and injects it into his body, and he has now disappeared. After disappearing, he first approaches a couple. Calvin first kills the boy, then tears the boy's clothes. He forces her to run to kill her. She tries escaping to save her life, but Calvin kills her as two girls pass. Both of them see the girl's corpse. They become very frightened upon seeing it and, as they flee, they go to the classroom where Calvin is already sitting. She comes here and tells Calvin, "We saw our friend's corpse there." After that, Calvin tells both of them to stay in the classroom. He uses calling the police as an excuse to leave the classroom, then Calvin injects. Calvin's voice could be heard here, but Calvin was not visible anywhere, which scared the girls a lot. They sprint towards the door, but it was locked. Calvin removes her clothing, submerges her in the fish tank, kills her, then approaches another girl, who was the same one. Calvin received her address from the principal as she was his favorite. Then he put his anaconda in her mouth. The black cobra goes in so deep that the girl dies of suffocation. After that, we see Vicky and her boyfriend. Vicky is now going to take a shower. And her boyfriend was waiting outside. As Vicky began to bathe, Calvin arrived, and then he assaulted Vicky. Vicky dies here due to an electric shock. Her boyfriend had been inside for quite some time when he went in to check on Vicky. He then discovers Vicky was killed and locked in a closet. Seeing her condition, he becomes very scared and is struck in the face. Frightened, he flees rapidly, but Calvin attacks and tosses him down the stairs, causing the boy to die. After that, we witness inside the principal's office a couple who were not only fighting but also openly making out in front of everyone present. A short while later, these people hurriedly leave, but then she goes to the bathroom to get some of her belongings. She enters, sees Vicky in the closet, and screams. Her boyfriend arrives, working there, and attacks the servant. After that, he beats the servant badly, but then Invisible Calvin arrives and also beats this boy a lot. Jordan was quite strong. He fights Calvin, causing him to get injured as well. During the battle, the 10-minute injection has passed, and Calvin becomes visible to both. Upon seeing Calvin here, these people are very shocked, but seizing the opportunity, Calvin attacks Jordan and punches him. He tramples his girlfriend's feet. Afterward, he went home, packed his things, and was preparing to flee the city. But Jordan arrives here with his gun. However, Calvin outsmarts him and injects him again. After that, he becomes invisible. He beats Jordan badly, causing another injection to fall into Jordan's hands. He injects himself and becomes incapacitated. These people were fighting each other when the gun was raised into the air and fired, killing one man. Hearing the gunshot, the police standing below arrived here. They leave here, considering this dead body as Calvin's last. As they leave, Calvin laughs loudly, but he wasn't ready to stop yet. After taking an injection, he leaves. Meanwhile, the TV news anchor reporting on Calvin is confronted by Calvin, who seeks revenge. And in front of the TV, he tears the news anchor's clothes, causing everyone to understand Calvin is still alive, and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. So, see you in our next video.